Hello, welcome to Local Chats. I'm Lewis Adams. Today my guest is Dr. Sue Gillett, the Senior Lecturer in Creative Writing at La Trobe University, Bendigo. Hello.
Hello, how are you, Lewis?
I'm good. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, as you said, I'm a lecturer at La Trobe. I've been here for about 20 years, and I'm also a program consultant with the Bendigo Writers Festival, and I'm an amateur writer myself, or maybe even a professional writer myself. I've got a few publications, and the current exciting thing that I'm doing is starting a new subject called Writers in Action.
And I happen to be fortunate enough to be in this subject. It's very in-depthly involved with the Bendigo Writers Festival, which is actually not too far away now.
That's right.
Would you like to tell me, well tell the listeners, because I probably already know what I'm about to ask, what is the deal with Writers in Action?
So it's called Writers in Action Writing the Festival, and it's grown pretty organically out of my involvement with the Bendigo Writers Festival. So the Bendigo Writers Festival, this is its third year. Yep. So I guess the planning for the festival started about 4 years ago, about a year before the first festival was actually held. And I was fortunate enough to be on somebody's radar at the time, Rob Stevenson from La Trobe's radar, and he called me into a meeting with Rosemary Sorensen, who had approached him to discuss La Trobe's potential involvement with the Writers Festival. It was Rosemary's idea to have a Writers Festival in Bendigo, so I was involved in discussions really early on and was really keen for myself to be involved and for La Trobe to be involved. And so I've been working on programming and all kinds of things really with the festival, and being on stage and interviewing writers and rubbing shoulders and being a fan and gradually getting my students involved in little projects here and there and getting them to be volunteers. And it occurred to me that I could actually formalise that into a subject. So that's happened, and La Trobe's been fantastic actually, and giving me heaps of support for doing it. And as you would know, Lewis, there are 65 students enrolled.
Is that 65 anywhere near what you were expecting?
It's more. It's quite a lot more than I was expecting. I really was thinking if I got 30 students, I would be really happy. That would be successful. But 65 is definitely, it's starting to stretch me.
And I know there's so much going on with it. There's so many different people with different ideas. It'd be almost overwhelming if you wanted to try and do everything. Yes,
I think some people are starting to freak out about having too many choices, but you just have to relax, because that's what a festival is. That's part of the experience of a festival. You can't go to everything. It's always better to have too many choices, and I think that's a sign of a good program really, that you've got too many choices and you're kind of left like, I wish I could have gone to that one as well. Much better that than go, look, there's nothing on that I really want to go to.
Yeah, well, you got to remember it's an annual festival, so
that's right.
There might be something offered the following year.
Exactly, yes.
Now, you mentioned that you were there from the beginning of the festival. Would you like to share some of your experiences from the initial days?
Okay, yeah, well, it's been an interesting journey really, watching it get off the ground. And Rosemary Sorensen's been a real driver. She was a journalist with the Bendigo Weekly and is still really involved with the Weekly, and she continues to be the artistic director. And she really brought the people to the table who needed to be brought to the table. So the City of Greater Bendigo, the Capitol Theatre, people from tourism, La Trobe University, representatives from writing groups around the community. So she facilitated the initial consultations and got people speaking to each other, and it was, as she says, it was an idea that really, she was in the right place at the right time. The festival was ready to happen, but there was a lot of work. There were some resistances that needed to be worked through, because putting on a big major festival requires a lot of coordination and a lot of resources and a lot of teamwork. So there were a lot of meetings and persuasion. I thought the first festival was fantastic. We were able to get enough money to raise enough money from stakeholders to invite some really fine writers, and also the writers were very generous. We had a lot of really high-profile writers come to that first festival who didn't charge us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I won't name names because that might be embarrassing to other writers. Yeah, there was a lot of goodwill. I think there were a lot of people who saw it as an opportunity to come to Bendigo. It had a lovely feel, that first festival, and I also had the honour of interviewing David Marr in the opening. Yeah. It was the first event for first festival. So I'm really proud of that, and he was just delightful, just delightful. It was a really great experience. He was a wonderful guest at the festival that first year.
Because a lot of new festivals will run into a few inevitable issues and obstacles, but it seems to me that this particular one has, I guess, as a result of the enthusiasm of everyone involved, has really established itself very, very quickly, and you could almost say that it's easy to forget that there has only been a handful of them.
That's right, yeah. That's right. There have only been 2,
yeah.
and this is the 3rd one. I think it's on the map now, though. I think it's quite secure. The 2 major backers of the festival are the City of Greater Bendigo and La Trobe Uni, and, their commitment is really strong. You'd know at La Trobe that, that La Trobe talks about their involvement in the Bendigo Writers Festival very proudly. It's good to hear that that's the perception of the festival. I mean, there are always, behind the scenes dramas, of course, like with any organisation, but so long as they stay behind the scenes, it's okay. And there's lots of investment, in the community. There are a lot of writers around central Victoria, not just in Bendigo, but Castlemaine, Dalesford, Maryborough, Macedon. We're in that sort of catchment where I think the creative arts are very strong. That helps a lot, that we've just got so much talent, and students have been fantastic. They've really, right from the first one, being volunteers. We've had student writers on the program, students of English or strategic communication or education taken on interviewing roles. The thing I really like about this festival, and something I try to contribute in programming, is to get a kind of a levelling, if you know what I mean, between audience and stars, to break down that sort of, let's just adore the stars kind of thing. So there's a nice community feel to it. Not to say we don't have stars, we do. But having amateurs and professionals...
It makes you feel included.
That's what we're aiming for.
Let's talk about this year. The festival is over the weekend of the 8th to the 10th of August. Is that correct?
Right, yeah.
What can we expect?
Well, I'm allowed to talk about it now. For ages I wasn't able to. I had to be very cryptic because the program hadn't been released, but the program's well and truly been released now. We're kicking off on the Friday with an event called Texts Mark the Spot, which is a day of children's authors, children's and young adult authors, and schools from around Victoria are coming, Bendigo and also other regional areas. I think we've got about a dozen schools that are bringing students from both primary and secondary schools. That day is not only for school children, adults can also come along as professional development. That day is sold out. Friday is booked out. It is booked solid. Yes, my students have taken up the last seats. So the other thing that is going on, however, on the Friday that's not booked out is the Fringe Festival.
Oh yes, the Ride on the Fringe Festival.
Ride on the Fringe Festival.
The library's doing.
That's right. So the library is open all day, and there are events going on and exhibitions going on at the library all day.
It's amazing that the Writers Festival has gotten to the point where there is this side festival
going on. I know.
Just
it's terrific.
A couple blocks away.
That's right. Yeah.
Just to give you more options.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a sign that you've made it when you've got a fringe. And I've decided that I'm going to get my fringe cut in honour of the...
Oh, really?
Yes. You can't see me, but I don't have a fringe at the moment. I've got long hair. I'm getting a fringe next week.
Are you excited about that?
I'm very excited about it. I think I might blog about it.
All right.
My fringe for the Fringe Festival. So that's the Friday, and then the adult writers events begin on the Friday night, actually. The launch of the festival is on Friday night. Some of our children's writers and young adult writers also featuring on the Saturday, Sunday program too. Jackie French, Gabrielle Wang, Sophie Masson, who else have we got? Gary Disher, they're appearing on different events on the Saturday as well. But we kick off on Friday night with our keynote address, and this year our keynote speaker is Blanche Del Puchet.
That's really exciting.
That is very exciting. And how many people have asked me, is Bob Hawke coming? I don't believe he is. I'm not sure that he was invited. Can you imagine? It would be very dramatic if he did come too. Yeah, that'll be exciting to meet Blanche.
I'm actually a bit excited about that myself.
That's good. Oh, Saturday and Sunday are full of sessions.
Yep.
There are all kinds of sessions, panels which tend to have a focus, like an issue sort of focus, or writers have the opportunity to talk about their own books, obviously, but also in relation to a particular issue. For instance, it might be the issue of otherness or political questions. There are lots of them, aren't there, at the moment? So some of the writers that we've got coming for the Saturday and Sunday sessions are Sarah James, who has written a book called An American in Oz.
Yeah.
She's a New York journalist, an award-winning journalist who made not just a sea change, she made a country change, and she now lives in Macedon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she's written a memoir about her experience of making that massive change. And Robert Kenny, who has written a beautiful book called Gardens of Fire, which is also, it's autobiographical, and it tells his experience in the 2009 Black Saturday bushfires.
Oh, yes.
Where he was at his farm in Reedsdale, so locally, and survived, but his house didn't. It's a terrifying account, first-person account of surviving that day.
He would have been at the heart of all
He
of
was
it, yeah.
absolutely at the heart of it, yeah. It's an amazing book, really. I couldn't put it down. Craig Sherburn will be talking about his new book, which is called Tree Palace. I've mentioned them first because I'm interviewing all three of those writers, and we're going to be talking about faith, survival and hope, facing difficult situations and getting through them, and what writing contributes to that.
I really enjoy the range of topics that
that's good.
the Writers' Festival traditionally has. Like, you can be going to one session about, say, faith and hope.
Yeah.
Then you can just go into something about, say, social media and writing, or something about a bit more about, say, philosophy or science or gardening. It's really great how there is just so much option, and even if you're only interested in one specific thing, you might be able to find one or two or even three sessions throughout the weekend about that one thing, and these writers are just talking about that one thing.
Yeah, sometimes it's a session that you've got know nothing about, and you think, oh, I'll just go here.
Yeah.
Can be the one that amazes you. That's something that I really like about festivals too. There can be that element of surprise and discovering new writers. I mean, there's a lot of writers at the festival this year that I've not read their books before, and I've been doing new reading. I'm interviewing Gabrielle Wang, for instance, who's a children's writer, and so I've been reading her books, and, I haven't read books for young children for a very long time. Well, my son's 15 now, so reading for the primary school age I haven't done for quite a while, and she's great. She's wonderful. I'm really looking forward to interviewing her.
Do you find that's been happening a fair bit over the past couple of years, where you'd be picking up a book that you might not necessarily had have picked up just because the author is going to be at the festival?
That's right, because I've been given a job. Here, you interview this person. Okay, righto, know nothing about this person. And do the research, do the reading. It's really good. It kind of keeps me out of my rut. Gets me out of my rut. It means keep getting fresh things to learn about and new authors to discover. There's the favourites as well. Sue Wolfe is one of my very favourite authors. She was my pick, one of my choices for the festival program, and we managed to secure her. So she'll be running a workshop and talking about strategies for writing creatively.
Do you have a highlight or a specific session or a specific moment from your experience with the Writers' Festival over the past couple of years that really sticks out?
I've got a few.
Okay,
but,
we've got time.
I'm really interested in songwriting, and have dabbled a little myself in songwriting, and I think music is just so important, and it's so popular. We all love music. It's so emotional, and we use it on so many important occasions, and can express so much through music and through song. And I really like that we've got songwriters on as part of our festival program, because I think it's good to take songwriting seriously too. Songwriters are writers.
Yeah, it's a form of writing. Yeah.
It is a form of writing, and shouldn't just be taken for granted. And so last year's festival, I hosted an event on the Saturday evening, which was called Write on Song. Write on Song, it was called. And our invited guests were, I hope I can remember them all, Lucy Thorne, Jeffrey Williams, Shane Howard, David Bridie, and a couple of others. Charles Jenkins, who's back this year. Goodness, my mind's gone blank. And the host was Derek Gill.
Yep.
Derek Gill was the very affable host. Each of those songwriters spoke. I don't know if you came to that session.
I didn't go to that session, but the following day I did go to a session on songwriting that I think a couple of the people you just mentioned were doing. And
right.
I found that session very interesting.
Was it with Charles Jenkins and Aaron Wells? Maybe?
I think there was Jeffrey.
Oh, Jeffrey, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Jeffrey and Charles.
I don't remember who the other person
Yeah,
was, unfortunately. It was a year ago. But
yeah. So they gave it was a session in the Capitol Theatre. I think the show was about 2 hours, and they each talked about. There was general conversation about the art of songwriting and different aspects of the craft. And I think it was a novel experience for the songwriters because they were primarily there to talk rather than to sing, but they each did sing. I had them prepare one song to sing. Yep. So in all we had 6 songs that were performed, and that was a highlight for me, because it also brought in a different crowd of people. You might think writers' festivals are a bit more conservative or something, and so we did get a bit of a younger cohort come to that event, and it was good. Those songwriters were part of other sessions, like writing and mental health, for instance. And so, you get this nice mixture then of maybe a songwriter, a poet, a fiction writer, and a non-fiction writer, all contributing sort of to the topic from their different genre of writing. Anyway, so the songwriters has been highlight for me. And we've got Shane Howard. Yes. Shane Howard was a highlight for me. I got to be his assistant in a workshop that he ran for high school students.
Oh, wow.
And they wrote a song called Bendigo. Which I can give you, actually, and you can put it on your website.
I'll put it up if it's not in with this article. I'll put it up very soon.
And I've obtained permission from Shane. It was so the song was written by the children, and Shane sings it with the children singing the chorus.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really good. And they did that in a 2-hour workshop, and that was a real highlight for me because he's a bit of a hero, I think.
Do you find that a lot of the guests, especially the less established ones, that they enjoy the experience of the festival because it might be something a bit different from what they're normally doing?
Yes. I probably don't have access to all of the feedback, but I certainly haven't seen any negative feedback, and I do know quite a few younger authors or emerging authors who have been to our festivals and had a spot on the stage who have found it so invigorating. A chance to shine, it's a mark of respect, it's a show of confidence, and an opportunity for them to mix it with the experienced ones,
Yeah, well, I imagine it's an amazing opportunity as far as just gathering friends and contacts.
That's right, yeah. Networking. Festivals are great for networking. It's kind of organised chaos, I think.
Yeah.
The Bendigo Writers Festival has a website, www.bendigowritersfestival.com.au.
Thank you, Sue. It's been a pleasure having a local chat with you.
Thanks so much, Lewis.
We will be back next fortnight. I don't know who I'll be talking to, but I hope it'll be really interesting. You can, of course, go to www.thenewlocal.net where you'll find this podcast. You'll find the other podcast that I'm doing with Tom O'Callaghan, Bendigo Decides, about the upcoming state election, and I'm sure there's some interesting articles there that you can read. Thanks, everyone.